Hey everybody, it's me, Stacey, licensed designer for Sizzix, Jacquard, Couture Creations, brand ambassador for Royal Talons, and owner of Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. Hello everybody, and welcome to today's In the Studio with Stacey class. Now, our In the Studio with Stacey classes are designed to really take things from paper crafting and mix them with things from the fine art world that shows us paper crafters and sometimes fine artists how we can merge and blend and make these two worlds come together to make magic. It is amazing what a scrapbooker, what a card maker can do when they add a little bit of this fine art product into the mix. And who knows, maybe there's some fine artists out there who want to learn how to make a cute card. Well, we're here for that as well. Every month I choose one product, one art product, and for the entire month of Tuesdays, we use that product in different ways. Every class on Tuesday is around that one type of fine art product so that you get multiple opportunities to learn about it and to see all the different ways it can be used. We started these classes in January this year, and well, they have over 1 million views. It's close to 1 million views between all of the classes for In the Studio with Stacey. Yay! That means that people are watching. That means that people are learning about Royal Talons and what is gouache and why do you want to use a soft pastel, and are watercolors the same no matter what watercolors you buy? It's really bringing in that beautiful product from the fine art world without giving up the creativity of our paper crafting world, because really innovation happens in paper crafting. Stability happens in fine art. And if you are a paper crafter, the easiest way for me to explain that to you is that when a new collection of paper comes out by your favorite paper company, it may be that they only do one run of that paper and you buy it, you buy 2 sheets because you think 2 sheets is going to be enough of your favorite in that collection. And when you get down to it, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm down, I need just a little bit more. I should have bought 3 sheets of this one to finish out my scrapbook. Only to go back to the paper crafting store, find out that they are sold out of it and that it can't ever happen again. It's one and done. That's what paper crafting is sometimes about, one and done. When you see it, you gotta buy it because it may not be there tomorrow, which is exactly the opposite of what fine art is. It's stability. It's here today, here tomorrow, here next week, here next year, here in 10 years. It is about the product and the accessibility of knowing that if you buy this product today out of the fine art world, in 10 years from now, it's still going to be there and the color's going to match identically. They are so different in their worlds, and I thought it would be fun to make those worlds collide. Use the inventiveness and the creativity from the paper crafting world, but have the stability from the fine art world. You put those together and poof, In the Studio with Stacey happens. So this month we have been using gouache. Squash, gouache. I rhyme it. That's how I remember how to pronounce it, because some of the terms in fine art are like, what did you just say? But I'm learning. To become a brand ambassador for Royal Talons, I've taken classes. I have a mentor who teaches me. In fact, he will be interviewing me on the Royal Talons YouTube channel August 6th at 2:30 p.m. I think that's my time, but I'll confirm. But Jeff, my mentor, who is the director of brand ambassadors, all of us brand ambassadors for Royal Talons, will be interviewing me on YouTube. So I hope you're able to join me. It's going to be live and you're going to be able to ask questions, and I have no idea what he's going to ask me since I am the first paper crafter to ever be a brand ambassador and art ambassador for Royal Talents, so I have no clue what he's gonna ask me. Should be fun. So this whole month we've been using gouache, and my first class is always an overview of what the product is, no matter what month we're in. So July is coming up and we're gonna pivot into a new product, and that first Tuesday will be a lot about the history of the product, why it is, what it is, and then the following weeks we really start to play with it. So gouache this entire month, and I'm gonna finish up with something simple and easy and lovely. I mean, we have painted with gouache, we've put it on vellum, we have stenciled with it on black paper, we've blended, we've done just a little bit of everything with gouache. And if you don't know what gouache is, oh, you're going to love it. It is a watercolor that's opaque. It's an opaque watercolor, and yet there's no opacifiers in the product. And an opacifier is like a filler. It's something that they add to watercolor to make it opaque. The way gouache is made opaque is the size of the particles of pigment. That is how it becomes opaque. But it is still a watercolor. So it is a sibling to what we know as our watercolors, and really stunning, bold, vibrant, amazing product that is incredibly affordable. Sometimes I think we all get in our heads, fine art means, oh, fine art expensive. But in reality, fine art generally, most often means better quality product for at the same, sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more, but usually about the same for a better quality of product. So gouache is an opaque watercolor. It is pre-mixed for you, and the beauty of that is I had shown earlier with Van Gogh watercolors that you can take the white watercolor, mix it with your other colors, and it will make the watercolor now more opaque because you've mixed in white. It also tints the watercolor. So if you're using red, your red Van Gogh watercolor, and you want it to be opaque, you're going to mix in a little bit of white. But the minute you do that, it's going to lighten the red to a pink because you're adding in white. That's where gouache comes in. Gouache doesn't do that. It's the color is the color you see. It's not tinted down at all. And it is so easy to use. So today I thought we would keep it fun and simple, and really I'm going to be playing with black air dry clay because gouache just loves dark papers. It loves dark papers, which a traditional watercolor would not. Watercolor is meant to be transparent, and it has that luminosity that comes through. We want it to be transparent because we layer those colors. Gouache isn't that way. Gouache is meant for, it's fabulous. It can go on light or dark, whereas a typical watercolor can't. You have a transparent watercolor going on black, you're not going to see any of it. Not any of it. So we did watercolors on a white air dry clay. You remember we did the roses and we did the leaves, and they were stunning. And I thought for today I'd bring out black air dry clay and use the gouache because I can't use a regular watercolor. It's too transparent. I need that opacity to be almost at 100% opaque. I need it to be that. Can I water gouache down to make it a watercolor? I can, absolutely. But that takes away the specialness of gouache. If you already have watercolor, but let's say you're playing with this and you just need a little bit of watercolor, sure, you can water it down. The more water you add to it, the less of the opaque nature it's going to have, and you will turn it into more of a typical watercolor. I'm not going to add hardly any water. In fact, usually the only water I add is to get my brush wet, and then I'm off to the races. So I'm going to tilt on down. You're saying, well, where do I find this product? Well, gouache from Royal Talons. We have it at Scrapbooking Made Simple in our retail store and also online. But if you are fortunate enough to have a art store in your vicinity, go and say hello. Say, I have been learning a little bit about gouache. Do you have it? Can you show it to me? And I think that the art stores would be just thrilled to have a new customer walk through the door who's excited to learn about what it is they do with their product. So I am going to tilt on down. I'm just going to briefly go through what we've done in the past weeks, and then we're going to get started with today's class. Easy breezy, mac and cheesy, easy peasy. I thought we would just have a fun class, and using black air dry clay. Oh, it's so good. All right, so let's tilt on down. Let's get started for today. And again, it's me, Stacey, and I am a licensed designer for Sizzix and Jacquard and Couture Creations, and a brand ambassador for Royal Talons, along with being the owner of an independent small mom and pop retail shop, Scrapbooking Made Simple, here in Canyon Country, California, who also has a small online business too. That's who we are. Okay, let's tilt on down. It's good to see everybody. All right, so let's zoom on in, zoom, zoom, zoom. My glasses are so dirty. I'm gonna try and clean them super quick. Pay no attention to the girl trying to clean her glasses. Okay. All right, so let's see what we've got. So first week, remember, we color swatched. I usually do color swatch the first week. Just to show you, so gouache full strength on white, gouache watered down a little bit, and then watered down even a little bit more. I just kept adding water. Gouache full strength on black paper. Now you could never do this with a standard watercolor on black paper because it would just absorb in and you'd lose the color. In fact, you can see that the more water I added, the lighter the color became. So 100% just straight out of the tube, a little bit of water, a little bit more. Now on the white paper, it doesn't make much difference. You get to play with your color a little bit more, but on the black paper, it makes a tremendous difference. So we did that week number 1. And then week number 2, we got into stenciling with it. And again, I used little to no water. And I just went in there with a stencil and a spouncer, and I just had at it. And the colors blend, and the boldness of them is so striking. So again, on black paper. But week number 3, I went in and I said, what if we put it on vellum? Because gouache dries so fast, it can go on vellum without curling the vellum. Typically, if you get vellum wet with anything, vellum likes to curl up on itself. But with gouache, the dry time is so fast, and because I'm not using any water, it just is beautiful. And here I did a stencil on, this is on vellum. So lovely, right? So gouache is the perfect medium for vellum, whether you're painting with it or stenciling with it. And then in last week's Saturday with Stacey YouTube class, we painted with gouache. Just to show you another way it could be. Not only did we paint with it, we stamped with it as well. All of these different things you can do with this product with the funny name, gouache. An opaque watercolor. And I blended it without adding any water. It was really something special. And that class is going on right now. It's our Saturday with Stacey YouTube class, and I'm featuring the gouache and I'm featuring the stamps. We have a special deal on the Studio Light stamps where I think it was $78 retail for 5 stamps and a stencil, and we've got them for $24.99 for all 5 of them. But today we play. So I've got my gouache here. And I always use the 24 pack just because the 24 pack has the fun colors. They come in tubes. They're easy to use. The colors are lovely. And even at full price, they retail for about $28.99. And I think we have them on sale for $22 or $23 for the 24 pack. And the colors are just lovely. And yes, they blend, and you don't use water with them. I want to keep that opacity at almost opaque, if not opaque. Look at the beautiful colors. So that's what we're going to play with today. And I'm bringing out Hardy Soft Air Dry Clay. Now we did this. This is a smaller, they only sell it in the smaller bag. We did this in a big, large white bag when we did the roses, and they were beautiful, and it was done in white. I have it in black for you, and I've got several molds that we're going to play with. We've got some keys. I don't know if I can pop them out and get that glare off there. We've got some keys going on. I've got some beautiful feathers happening. I've got some butterflies here. And these are much bigger butterflies. Where's the opening's right there? I feel it. Butterflies. They're silicone molds. They are made by Katie Sue, and then we also have one that is keys and locks. In fact, I'll pull this one out too so we can play. And we're using the air dry clay. So I'm gonna make a few of the different items, but I will tell you, we've already pre-prepped some because they do need a little bit of dry time. You can't really start painting on them for a good 20-25 minutes maybe. Well, it depends upon how deep they are. These are all pretty thin, so they're going to dry pretty darn fast. They're all pretty thin, but obviously the deeper the mold is, the more clay you're pushing in, the longer it's going to take. Now it is air dry clay, and this is super lightweight. If you were thinking about doing any kind of jewelry making, this is so lightweight. I mean, the whole package is like air, and when it gets down to it, what you use inside one of your molds is so tiny. So I love that it's black because gouache loves dark colors. It does. Now, gouache is not an acrylic. There is no plastic in gouache. Gouache is all pigment. And the way it stays opaque is that the pigment sizes are big. Now, you're never going to see them. They're not visible to the unaided eye, but by having the pigment sizes larger for each of the all the pigment in there, as opposed to a teeny little dot, it allows it to be more opaque as opposed to more transparent. So I do need to have my Crisco. This is a little bit of Crisco here. I've got enough to last me a lifetime. Mr. SMS went and bought it for me last time, and the only thing he could find was the big tub of Crisco. So if anybody needs Crisco, I've got it. And I'm just gonna work with the molds a little bit and see what we can do. So you're going to take a little bit of Crisco, just a little bit, and you don't have to do it each and every time. And you're just going to kind of rub it in and kind of all over. All that does is help, it just helps the air dry clay kind of just pop on out. And again, you don't have to do it in between each one. You just have to do it every so often. And I'm putting very little in. and it just helps. Now these are molds that were made for decorations for food, so they are food safe. Katie Sue did these for cake decorating. All right, so I've got some in there. And maybe some in here. And we'll make a few, and then we're going to paint a few. All right, so let's see. So the air dry clay, once you open it, you do have to keep it airtight if you can. That's really important because it will start to dry out on itself. Black. Don't have to mix the black. Just make my black and away we go. And the best way to use it is sparingly. A little bit at a time. Little bit at a time. Little balls of clay pushed in and down until I fill up my whole little key. Less is more. It's easier to add more than to put a whole bunch down and then try to clean all the way around your mold. And what I'm talking about is putting a lot down and pushing it in and then trying to pull away all the extra and try to get those lines nice and clean. Sometimes it's just easier to just start with less and build into it. And it doesn't take very long. And kids can do this. Kids love this. Seniors love this because it's interactive and you don't know what you get until you pull it out. And it's this element of, oh, and then they get to paint it. So I'm trying to keep the clay within the design. If a little bit goes out and over, I'll pull it off, but I'm trying to keep it in the design. And I start from the center and I push out. Put a little divot in there and push out. And I got a little bit more down here to go. A little bit of a ball, push in. A little bit of a ball and push in and just fill up all the empty space. Okay, I think that's pretty good. And then you kind of got to give it a wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You kind of got to give it a little bit of a wiggle, 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 because you're releasing that clay from that silicone mold, and you kind of go all the way around and kind of wiggle, 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 and it will start to pull out all on its own. And then when you're ready, my key is done. Now I'm going to lay it to let it dry and give it some dry time. Let's put it right there and give it some dry time. And let's bring over maybe one of the pretty keyholes and put it in and press around. Put it in and press around. Now I've already added my Crisco just to give a little bit of room. Now, if I don't want that, I want that keyhole to be open, I'm going to work all the way around it and not cover it up. So I have that open keyhole. I could go over the top of it so it has a closed keyhole, and maybe we'll do that in just a minute so you can see. But it really is just about putting it in there and filling it up, pressing it in. If you get a little on the sides, you just push it out. Push it out. Push it out. All right, let's see what we've got. So it's all filled in. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. And bam. So I've got some Sizzix opulent paper here that we may use a little bit later. But see, I left that keyhole open. I went all the way around it to leave it open. But I could have, if I wanted to, let's just leave it there and we'll do another one. I could have covered the entire keyhole up. And of course, the lovely thing is if you don't like what you've made, as long as it's still new, you just squish it up and start again. But I love this Hardy black clay. That's the name of the company, or the name of the clay. It's Hardy Soft, super fine, lightweight, air dry molding clay. And I just start to build. And this time I'm going to go over the top of the key, with a keyhole. Go right over the top of the keyhole and build it into the design. So less is more. Instead of just taking a big blob and pushing it in and trying to make it work, it's better to take less. All right, I think that's pretty good. And then we have to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And you can see how quickly it comes out. And they're not delicate. So here we have with the keyhole left in. You get to do both. So I'm going to set that over to the side to dry. Give that a little dry time. In fact, maybe I'll put the ones that are drying up here so I know which is which. They all start to look alike because they're all the same black color. Now I can take, so I've done a key, I've done a keyhole. The feathers are absolutely stunning. I mean, the feathers are incredibly gorgeous. And again, kind of start in the middle. And build on out. So I'm trying to push it into all the nooks and crannies without it getting absolutely everywhere. And by starting in that middle, it makes it easy as I push down to fill in all the extra space, all that detail that these molds hold. I want to take advantage of all that detail. Push it right on up and in. I just need a little bit more over here. And then I think I'm good to go. Nope, a little bit more down here. Little bits at a time, and just fill in your sections. So as I'm pushing it in, I'm pulling out any extra that I don't need. Pulling out any extra I don't need. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's see what we get when we wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. See, look at how it pulls. Easy peasy. Even that little top tiny little bit has pulled. Oh, I think I might have made this bottom part too thin. Or maybe I didn't get enough of my... Well, we're just gonna go for it. Oh, it did, it pulled too. Look at that. I don't know if the camera can pick up the detail of that, but it's beautiful. The molds are absolutely gorgeous. And see, then I have all of this that I can pick up. The molds are absolutely beautiful. So we'll set this one off to dry. Well, maybe that wasn't the best thing to put them on to dry. That's very funny. All right, we'll have to see what happens. As the moisture is leaving them, it left a little spot on my canvas. Okay, good to know. But I have this little bit left. Just this little bit left. What can I do with this? Just this little tiny bit. I can't even do a whole butterfly. Well, maybe I can get this butterfly done with this little tiny bit left. Remember, less is more. Nope, I'm going to be short. Tiny pinch. Fill up all the space. And I'm not going to go for the antennas right now. SMS girl Elena got the antennas done and she did a beautiful job. But there, I used up all the last of that little bit of clay. And let's wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And beautiful. All right, so I'm going to let those sit. And I think we're going to start playing with the gouache. So I've got my little palette here. It is my Tearaway palette. It's by Royal Talons. There's 20 sheets in here. And you can use one sheet time after time after time. You just wipe it clean and it's good to use again. But when it comes to the point where you can't, there's another sheet right underneath. You just tear this off, throw it away, and then you've got your next palette underneath. You can see I've used this quite extensively and I still have probably 17 sheets left. And I think I've been using this now for a few months. This has been, it takes a lot for me to tear off the palette and throw it away. And I've got my beautiful gouache. I think I'm gonna start with a key. And we'll play with a key or two. So these have all been done. They're ready to go. They're dry. It is flexible. It's not crazy flexible, but it does move. And if you leave them overnight to dry, you're good to go. Some of these that I've just done, like this one I can actually start painting on soon. It doesn't have to sit all night before you can start painting on them. This one I just did. This is the one I just did. It's getting there. Another maybe 5-10 minutes and we're good to go. So my paintbrush. I'm going to grab one of my fusion brushes because this is a sister to watercolor. It's not an acrylic. If this was acrylic paint, I would not be using watercolor brushes at all. You would have to absolutely positively make sure you get all that acrylic out of these brushes, because once acrylic paint dries, it's dry. It's done, it's toast. If it gets on your clothes and you don't get it out quickly enough, it's on your clothes forever. If you want to paint metal or glass or plastic with acrylic, absolutely, but do not use your nice watercolor brushes. You need to use them only with something that is water soluble, like a gouache or a watercolor paint. And I take just a little. I can always add more. And so a little bit of water, not in my gouache, a little bit of water just to get my paintbrush damp. That's the whole purpose of that water, is just to get my paintbrush damp. Make sure the black is out. Okay, so my paintbrush is nice and damp now. And then I can go in Now, I'm not going to try and cover the whole thing because I used the black for a reason. I wanted the black to be part of the color. And gouache dries so fast. And it's picking up all the detail of the mold. Let's see, do I have a different one? That looks different. And it's picking up all the detail of the mold. Now my gouache is almost dry. This is almost dry. It doesn't have this extended open time. Could I add a little water to it to give it a little bit more open time? Yes. But I think I'm good. So I've got those painted. And now my next color. How about I go with a green? Now you could absolutely do this with your fingers if you would prefer, but I'm just going to cover up just a little bit of, I'm just adding a little bit of color, a little bit of green to my base. So just a little bit of green. And a little bit of green. And then maybe I come in with a little darker green. And I'm not even going to clean my brush. I'm just going to go right into it and just add a little bit of darker green over the top. Just in a few places that I didn't get my lighter green. But again, I'm not trying to cover up all that black. I want that black to be the base color as opposed to white. And then the last thing I think I'm going to do is bring in some brown. Do you see how little I'm using? I can always add more. And I'm just going to put a little brown here and a little brown there just to age it up. All I'm doing is now just kind of distressing my green and my yellow and making something vintage and aged. Don't know if you can see it. Oh, there we go. Vintage and aged. All with black clay and a couple colors of gouache. Now we couldn't do this with a regular watercolor because watercolor are transparent. But this is an opaque watercolor. It's meant to do this. And I'm just hitting it here and there and everywhere. And if I want to come back and add a little bit more of one of my other colors, I can come back and add a little here. It's all about options. And gouache absolutely gives you options. I think these are pretty. I'm going to leave them. So with that black clay to start them off, look at what I can make. Right? They are pretty, absolutely amazing. Without question. Love them. Let's see. Let's put these there to dry. And let's maybe do some butterflies. So I've got a few butterflies. The butterfly mold comes with 3 sizes. 1, 2, 3. These are different from the butterflies we did. Oh, that still feels, I feel wet. I think that's okay. 1, 2, 3. So 3 different size butterflies. These are definitely different than the ones we did before. Now I can either wipe this down and start again, and my palette's good to go. And now I can paint my butterflies. And maybe with my, oh, I should close this up until we decide to use it again. What do I want to do with my butterflies? Get my paintbrush clean. All right, so I'm going to start with a yellow on a butterfly because why not? And I said you could do it with your fingers. You can. It's all about what works for you. Don't have a paintbrush? You have fingers. They come with you. One of your best craft tools is your fingers. And because it's water soluble, all I have to do is take a baby wipe and wipe off my fingers. So I've started. And then we add. Maybe we add a little bit of pink. And where my yellow isn't 100% dry yet, it's morphing into a new color. They're blendable. Okay, so I've got some pink and some yellow down. And now I might come back and add just a little bit of green. And here I haven't used my paintbrush at all. And I like getting my fingers a little dirty. I'm good with inky hands. Inky hands are happy hands. And I like having that black as part of my color. And away we go. They're so simple, so easy, and they dry so fast. A little bit of green. And then maybe we mix in a little bit of blue. So can you use the gouache if I was using the white clay? Absolutely I can. But can I use the watercolors that I use on the white clay here with black? No. You got to have something that's got some opaque nature to it. And I didn't want to tint my watercolor by adding the white when the gouache is so inexpensive. There's a reason for it. And I think once I understood the reason, then I couldn't put it down. Then I just wanted to play with it. So now I've got 2 done. I have no idea what we're going to make yet, but we have to make something. I've got 2 canvases here. Let's do the last one. And let's change it up again. I like my yellow. I like my yellow, but maybe I do. Maybe I leave it mostly yellow. Look at how easy peasy is that. Now I can't tell what the camera is showing and what it isn't showing. I have no idea if you can see what's going on or not. I don't have a computer next to me that has a full-size screen. I've got a little 2x2 inch, I don't even know if it's 2x2 inch viewfinder. We're not very high-tech here, but we try hard. We're like, what is it, Hertz and Avis? One of them tries harder, I think. That was their slogan. We may be number 2, but we try harder. So I've got some yellow going on. And maybe some red. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, that gives me goosebumps. Is that okay to say that? I get so excited. It gives me goosebumps. Ooh, I like that. Yikes. Okay, and what color for the body? Okay. Oh, I'm seeing if I have, okay. So now we've got 3. Three butterflies. And some of my keys. And where'd my little key holder go? Did I do a key holder? I thought I did a key holder. Maybe I didn't do a key holder. Oh. Maybe I didn't do a key holder. So this is the one that I did earlier. Let's go ahead and let's paint it. It's not quite dry yet, but this is the one that I did that has the center out. There's the color I'm looking for. So a little bit there. And then a little bit of my green. And then a little bit of my brown. Just to tone it down just a little bit. So you could make a bunch of these with any silicone mold. We have the roses. As we do more in the studio with Stacey, we'll bring in more. Now I've got the key, I've got the lock to go with my keys. All patinaed and aged. So if that's what you're going for, gouache on black, easy peasy. I'm gonna leave that to dry. The keys, the butterflies. And now let's do some of the feathers, because the feathers are gorgeous. Now the question was last week, what do I do with this? Can I wet this and pick it up? I can. You have to get it really wet though. So I've got some 100-pound paper here, or actually it's my 110-pound paper. And if I was all done, I could wet this. Kind of move it around a little bit here, move it around a little bit there. And then I could pick it up. It really depends upon what your color combination is, what you're going to end up with. I'm trying not to end up with mud. So you can pick the color up, but you do need to get it pretty wet because this is not moving. That's just staying right where it is. I need to get it pretty wet to make it move. And then when it dries, it's not going to dry to as intensive colors that you see here because obviously we've broken it down now. It's not as opaque as it was because I've added water. So I'm going to set it aside. We'll let it dry and we'll see what happens. But it won't dry quite as intense. And I'm not mad at it. I'm not going to complain about that. It's not a bad looking pickup. I'll be able to make something with that. And then I can wipe this down. And I can start again on my palette. I'm not going to throw this away yet. I'm not ripping this one off. It's stained, but that's okay. It's still good. I'm not tearing it off until it just can't take any more. So let's bring over some of my feathers, which are stunning. The feathers are so beautiful. And I'm always going to start with my lightest color. And I'll start with a yellow, a brighter yellow. And if I want, I can go over it with my fingers, or I can dip into with my paintbrush. And again, I'm just trying to hit the tops, just like it's an embossing. You know when we go over our embossing folders and all we're trying to do is hit the tops? That's what I'm trying to do here, is just hit the tops. See, it rolled over and it didn't even leave a mess. Look at that. Rolled over and it didn't even leave a mess. That's how lovely gouache is. It dries really fast, which gives you the opportunity then to move on. So let's go ahead and maybe we'll add a little bit of green. And again, I'm not trying to go over everything. I want to leave so I still have some yellow showing through. And then maybe we add a little bit of blue. Or maybe a little bit of teal. And just a little bit of color. Just a little bit of color goes a really long way. And it just sits on this black like heaven. Now I can just kind of go and add and to my heart's content. Look at how beautiful they are. And look at how easy they were to do. Let's see, where's the... So then we've got some of them that look, the feathers have come with several different molds. Oh, look at it, didn't even make a mess. And then maybe a little bit of, oh no, that's not the one. Just to highlight it, I'm gonna go a little bit of my lime green. And I'm not cleaning my brush, I'm just going for it. And I can blend those colors right on. They really are so very pretty. And see, I've got a kind of a blend going on here. Oh. And I can paint it till my heart's content. But then I have this left, right? And I can come in get it nice and wet. So I'm wiping my fingers off in between just because I'm trying to not contaminate the colors. They'll do that on their own. Seeing a little bit more wet. Oh, I like that veining there. But I have to get it nice and wet. So as this one's drying, the colors are becoming a little bit more subdued because I added water to make it mix. I added water so I could pick it up. All right, so we've made quite a few. Let's do something with at least some of them, right? I'm not ready to throw this one away. You're like, Stacey, it's really stained. I know, but that doesn't make it bad. I'm still gonna keep it. So I've got a couple canvases here. And I've got some of my opulent paper from Sizzix. I thought, what if we just make a couple canvases? So I just painted the canvas black. I love Sizzix opulent paper because of the colors that you get. And the specialty finishes that are on each of them. That was my measuring technique. Almost. So I don't use a trimmer, I just go by hand. Are my lines perfectly straight? Absolutely not. Am I okay with it? Absolutely. The goal is to not cut it down to a postage size stamp. At some point I'll just stop cutting and go with it. I think that's almost good. Okay, that works. And then what do I want? If this was dry, ooh, it's just not quite dry enough. That looks good against that though, huh? But I'm gonna end up covering most of it, but okay, we'll try.
that's not so bad. Oh my gosh, those are beautiful, but I just don't know if they're going to go against that really nicely, or if I should keep to the silver. Oh, I think I like that. Maybe with the silver as the backdrop and then these on top. What do you think? So I'm going to need to trim this down just a little bit, but I don't think that's, I think I like it. So there, 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 and then maybe just a little piece of black to put a picture in the center. What a nice gift for somebody. And I used every little bit of every little thing. So let's take some Stacey tape and let's put that down. Now you would do a better job of taping down than I am. I'm just trying to get it down. You may even use glue on the canvas. When it gets to the molds, I will use glue on those, a wet glue. Love the opulent paper, so pretty. And then that on top of that. You can get canvases inexpensively. That on top of that. I'm not sure I'm gonna love it. I'm just gonna look at it. No, on the silver glitter. But maybe yes on the black. I don't know about the key. Let's put the black down and then we're going to figure it out. I loved using that piece. If I hadn't pulled the colors, I wouldn't have had it to do. But what a great way to make your own background paper that matches what you're working on, the project you're doing. I think that's beautiful. I think whoever gets this, I hope will love it. I keep trying for the key. Don't ask me why. All right, I should just glue them down and be done, right? I'm just going to glue them down and be done. And then I'm just going to glue this one right on top. I'm not going to put it down on the paper because I want to be able to stick a picture underneath there. So I'm just going to glue it. Hold it for a second. Give it time to set. I think I'm going to have to add a little more glue here. Now you're going to want to use a glue that's going to dry crystal clear. With the butterfly, without the butterfly. Oh, that's not dry yet. With the key, without the key. With another feather, without the feather. Okay, well, I'm going to let it dry. And you're going to want to use a glue that dries crystal clear. But it really is so very pretty. And once my glue dries, you won't see any of it. I've got the background the same as my feathers because I use the gouache to pick it up. I just need to let that sit. And I think once I'm done letting it sit, oh, do I want to put the butterfly over in that corner? Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of my butterfly. And I'm not going to do the wings. And I'm going to let it glue. Okay, okay, I'm good. Done. And I still have all of these pieces I didn't use. All of these lovelies that are here that I didn't even use yet. But all painted with the gouache. I'm going to put something down here. I don't know what yet, but these have to dry before I can. But I love it. And I think whoever gets it has room to put a picture right underneath, slide it right underneath, and a beautiful gift. Gouache is easy to use. Easy to use. And it comes in the 24 pack and it goes on dark colors like butter. It's just absolutely dreamy. It's inexpensive, it's user-friendly, it's water-soluble, and it gives you opportunity to play. Okay, what color am I missing? Here. They do have it in a 12-pack, and we have the 12-pack. 12-pack is obviously less money, but the fun colors are in the 24 pack, and I think we either have it for $22.99 or $23.99 for all 24 colors. And remember what we did with it. Put all my colors back. Well, I didn't put the lid on that one very well now, did I? All 24 colors. A little bit of happiness. Maybe I can do them in this way. I suppose I can zoom back. Opaque watercolor. That allowed us to do stenciling on vellum. It allowed us to stencil stunningly on black paper. It allowed us to paint on white or black paper and blend and mix. It allowed us to pick up color. It allowed us to work with molds and paint right over the top to make the most beautiful decorations for our altered art, our mixed media, our card making,
plop one of these guys on a little card, maybe put a magnet on the back of it so that they can take it off the card and use it on their refrigerator or wherever. How cute would that be? Make home decor. And on that black clay, that black air dry clay, it absolutely pops. Gouache is pretty cool. But for now, this is our last week with it because July starts next week and I've got to start with something totally brand new. A whole new series of classes. So don't forget, you're going to want to use a little bit of your Crisco when you are using your molds. And we do have all 4 molds available to you from Katie Sue. We've got the gouache in the 12 pack. And there's nice colors in the 12 pack. But the 24 pack is where the Wahoo Kachoo is. And then we do have the Hardy Craft Air Dry Black Clay for you. And we leave it up to you. You go make your heart happy. You design something, you mold something, you paint something, you create something. But don't forget how useful gouache is. And you may have never ever heard of it before. And yet it's something you don't want to pass up. Not for that price. $22.99, $23.99, and with so many different things you can do with it. So we put gouache away for now. We start something brand new next week, which we're going back to Ecoline, but not markers. So we're going back to Ecoline product from Royal Talons, but not markers. And what I have to show you with Ecoline, oh my gosh, it's so good. So next month, I believe it's 5 classes. I don't remember. I think there might be 5 Tuesdays next month, or maybe it's 5 Thursdays. I don't remember. But next month is World Watercolor Month. So how could we not do something with watercolor, right? Absolutely. And Ecoline is stunning. We did Ecoline markers in January. So if you've never heard of Ecoline markers, first, eco does not mean economy. Eco is school in Dutch. Ecolina is actually how it's pronounced in Dutch. So so if you want to go back to January and watch the January classes, oh, dreamy. So that starts in July, and we say goodbye to gouache for this month, but boy, was it fun to learn and teach you and share with you. And then the next time I see you is Thursday. Hello, Thursday, for New For You, our New For You Thursday event. And I've got Find It Trading for you. So you'll come right back here to the Scrapbooking Made Simple YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Sunny California time, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. I can't wait to share that with you, and I so look forward to our next In the Studio with Stacey. The classes I've got planned, every month, because every month is something new and exciting that we didn't know before. So thanks to everybody and Royal Talons and Sizzix and all our partners. We so appreciate you. And it's me, Stacey, licensed designer for Sizzix, Jacquard Couture Creations, art ambassador for Royal Talons, and owner of Scrapbooking Made Simple. I'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.